them intensity-based. This approach was recommended in the economic analysis that was done by Infometrics and NZIER in their report to the Select Committee review, and is consistent again with the policy approach in Australia. In short, it means that growth is not disadvantaged. Rather than industry getting an absolute allocation based on 2005 emissions, it will go up or down based on production. Under Labour's scheme, for instance, each additional lamb or K of milk fat would have faced 100% carbon cost, whereas our approach gives the same 90% allocation. The third change is the phase-out rate for such industry support. The current law reduces this at 8% per year. Our bill aligns it to Australia at 1.3% per year. This has a substantive effect on the long-term costs and is a major reason why in 2030 the existing law, according to analysis by MAF, would cost the average farmer $30,000 a year, whereas our amended scheme would cost that same farmer $3,000 per year. Now, on such a large reform, it would have been desirable to get a broader political consensus. There is actually much on which National and Labour agree, including the importance of the problem, the need to make progress, support for an all gases, all sectors ETS, the need for transitional arrangements and allocations for those trade-exposed industries. The point where talks broke down is that Labour, while they could accept an intensity-based approach for industry, have a different and harder view in respect of agriculture. Can I tell you that's odd in the context of the international debate, where generally agriculture is treated more sympathetically than industry because of the global concern about the capacity to feed an ever-growing world population. National was not prepared to countenance a deal that disadvantaged agriculture relative to other industries. It's just too important to New Zealand's economic future. Some are questioning the merits of the government's ambition to try and pass our amendments by Christmas with the support of the Māori Party. However, if the bill is not passed, the existing scheme comes into effect on the 1st of January, power prices would increase on that date by 10%, and next year we would be putting $400 million of cost onto industry without allocation plans and also with a number of serious errors in the existing ETS legislation. Now, the option of trying to just get the parliamentary numbers to just defer this issue of again is not desirable. It will take at least 6 months to implement the regulations to make the scheme effective and would mean further delaying the introduction of a price of carbon, continuing to have no incentive to plant trees or to use renewable energy or improve energy efficiency, while of course the taxpayer would be continuing to pick up the Kyoto tab. The third reason is that having a scheme settled in the international negotiations does enhance our position. That is, countries aren't foolish. They don't just look at your rhetoric, they look at what you are actually doing, and for us to be able to go to Copenhagen with our ETS settles puts us in a better position when it comes to the hard-nosed negotiations about what sort of targets we might have to meet in future. Now, some are questioning the merits. Our approach in a number of areas is around trying to get this scheme settled by year's end. The last point I'd like to make is with respect to some of the specific issues around agriculture. Agriculture in New Zealand makes up 48% of our emissions as compared to 16% in Australia. That makes the issue of Australia excluding agriculture so much more challenging for us. Furthermore, agricultural emissions in New Zealand have gone up by 12% since 1990. Theirs have gone down by 6%, largely because of drought. And with climate change, there's a good chance that might continue there. You should also be aware that Australian farmers are going to face a regulatory cost to getting their emissions down, which the government is saying they'll need to impose as an alternative. We in New Zealand just don't have the luxury of excluding agriculture when your sector is such a large portion of New Zealand emissions. The last point I want to make is that climate change policy is an ongoing issue and we need to keep nimble-footed. The ETS in its amended form is not the final say on this issue. The science is continuing to evolve. If it gets more concerning, we need to ramp up our endeavours. We need to keep a watching brief. The international context is changing too. It's difficult to predict how much progress we might make in Copenhagen or Mexico or South Africa in coming years. We need to recalibrate our response as the world moves too, so that we are neither caught too far ahead or too far behind. Technology change is also crucial, thus the global initiative that the PM took at the UN. If technologies allow lesser cost mitigation, we should pick up the pace at which we move. I note the advice from MAF that over the past 2 decades, emissions per kg of milk fat or of meat has actually improved by 1.3% per year. And I think with smart investment, we can improve this. New Zealand's agricultural industries are the world's most competitive because of a history of innovation and a history of leadership. My challenge to you is to work with this government on this difficult challenge. We are pragmatic, we are focused on results, and we're totally committed to your future. Together, we can find solutions. Thank you.